Hi, and welcome to this Q&A on how to apply the concepts of lean management to product development. I'm Chet Marchwinski for the Lean Enterprise Institute, and I'm joined by two recognized experts on this subject. Durward Sobek is a professor and program coordinator of industrial engineering at Montana State University, and he has a PhD in industrial and operations engineering, and he is a co-author with the late Alan Ward of the breakthrough book, Lean Product and Process Development. Jim Morgan is founder and president of EMC Network. He too holds a PhD in engineering. And most recently, Jim was a global engineering director at Ford Motor Company, where he was a key player in the product-led revitalization under CEO Alan Mulally. Jim, you've written a book about lean product development. You have a PhD in engineering. You've been involved as a global engineering manager at Ford, where you applied these ideas. I'm wondering, how did your thinking about lean product development evolve over the past 10 years or so?
And so when I had the opportunity to do the research at the University of Michigan and study lean product development, it was an epiphany for me. I came back from industry and spent 4 years going through this process, and I learned so much. But I have to say that I learned even more when I had to try to implement these ideas in a novel environment. And I think one of the things that I learned was just how critical product focus was for the entire organization, to align people and to get them to work together to deliver great products and value streams that were profitable. And the other thing is, I learned that it's all about people, right? How important it was to spend time in developing people and working to get them engaged, and how much they can contribute when they're fully engaged in the process. And that's a big part of what I think lean is generally, and lean product development is specifically.
I heard you make the point too about developing people. Part of it is developing people with the work, right, not necessarily going outside but staying on site and making that people development part of the learning process.
That's absolutely right, Chuck. It's critical that you, and to use a quote that I learned from Toyota and tried to live by, is to develop products and people simultaneously. In other words, to build that into the way you do your work, whether it's in design reviews or plant walkarounds, always with an eye towards how are you developing your engineers for the next generation of great products.
Durward, Jim mentioned the research that he's done. There's been a lot of research around product development. So I'm wondering, how does the book Lean Product and Process Development add to that research? How does it fit in with the research that's been done?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of the research in product development really focuses on what I would call a project view of product development. How do you go from initial idea to the end of the project where you introduce it to the manufacturing process? And what we see in this book, I think, is a broader view of how do you actually continuously improve your projects by leveraging the knowledge and expertise of your people, by growing leadership and growing the people, and also by having a robust design process that not only creates solutions for the current problem, but generates knowledge that you can reuse on future projects and actually improve your development capability with every project that you complete.
Let me follow up just on that idea. Are there any ideas in this book that you can't find elsewhere that didn't come from that other research? There's new ideas in this book.
Absolutely. I think there's one of the things that's fairly new is a learning cycle that's based on PDCA but customized to product developers. We call it Lambda: Look, Ask, Model, Discuss, Act. And that's a fairly new concept that you're not going to find anywhere else. There are also examples relative to set-based design, which I think we might talk about a little bit later, that are also new to this book. Some of the ideas of set-based can be found elsewhere, but we've taken that to a whole new level in this book.
Okay. I want to come back to set-based, but Jim, I also want to ask you, what are some of the lean concepts, such as creating flow, that this book applies to product development?
Yeah, so creating flow in the execution phase is absolutely crucial, and it's one of the key differentiators, I think, of lean product development as opposed to sort of traditional. And that starts with the study period up front, where you do all of the research and all the work to fully understand what the product really needs to be and get everybody aligned around what that vision is for the product. That allows you then to focus on precision and speed in the execution phase and creating flow, applying concepts like really understanding your capacity. In order to understand your capacity, you need to understand the capability of your process. Applying concepts like compatibility before completion in terms of drawing release, understanding if your individual design is compatible with the larger system, whether it be manufacturing or other interdependent parts, before you release the drawing so that you don't get into that do loop of late engineering changes. And then adding reflection at the end so that you continuously improve, and each time your program and your products are improving.
Gotcha. Durward, let's come back to set-based design. That's one of the big ideas, the critical ideas in this book. What is it?
So set-based design, what we're calling set-based innovation now, is the idea that rather than looking at one solution at a time and making changes when you find fault with it, is to explore a broader set of alternatives and really understand what that set of alternatives looks like before you make decisions. And some of the key ideas that are new in the book or expanded are the idea of trade-off curves, which is really understanding what the trade-offs are before you make decisions, designing your testing so that you're not testing to validate, but testing to learn, the idea that you want to gradually converge this process as opposed to picking an early winner when you don't have a lot of knowledge about the trade-offs that you're making with that, and just different ways of looking at how can you evaluate the alternatives and bring them to a point of convergence for the whole development team.
That point about not picking an early winner is a big one for product developers, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah. Durward, Sobek, Jim Morgan, thanks a lot for taking the time to share your thoughts, and good luck with the book.
Thank you.